In this video, we're going to look at some more examples of how to calculate the change in producer surplus. So let's jump right into it. We're going to start off by doing what we always do, which is drawing a market diagram. And in this case, all we really need is a supply curve. So let's draw a supply curve, and I want you to notice the supply curve doesn't hit the price axis anywhere. There's no need for it to in this example. Now let's start off with a price here, P1. And I don't know, let's set the price to something, a nice round number, easy to do the math. Let's make it 15. Draw a little dotted line over, hit the supply curve, draw a dotted line down, and it'll make up a quantity to go with it. Let's make that quantity 100. So that's Q number 1. Now let's need now we're going to need a second price because we're trying to find a change. So let's see what happens when the price drops. Let's say here's P2, and let's make P2 $10. Draw a dotted line over, hit the supply curve, draw a dotted line down to find the quantity supplied when the price is $10. And let's say it's, I don't know, why don't we go with 50? So that's Q number 2. Let's change the color real quick. Our goal is to find this area right here, which is the change in the producer surplus. Not the producer surplus, the change in producer surplus. And one of the important things we want to look at here is this number going to be negative or is this number going to be positive? And before we do any math, we can already know the answer to that because the price went down. And if you're trying to sell something, you're better off selling it at a higher price. You're not happy if the price goes down. And so if you're selling things at a lower price, that's going to cut into your profits. Right? In fact, a change in producer surplus, I'll write that down right here, a change in producer surplus is exactly equal to a change in profit. So when the price drops, your profit falls. We're looking at how much the profit that that the firms in this particular market have lost as a result of the price dropping. So the price goes down, so the firms are going to make less money. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, I don't know how else to explain it to you because imagine that we're talking about labor and you're selling your labor as in you have a job. If you get paid less at work, you're worse off, right? That's the way to think about it. All right. Okay, so let's do the math. Our formula for the change in producer surplus is equal to 1/2 of P2 minus P1. It's always P2 first, then P1. Then we do a close parentheses, open the parentheses again, and we're going to look at Q2 Q2 plus Q1. All right, now we plug the numbers in. So this is 1/2 of our starting price of 10. Excuse me, our ending price of 10, P2, 1/2 of 10 minus our starting price of 15 plus the two quantities. 50 plus 100. So that's going to be 1/2 of -5 multiplied by 150. And this is important. Let me switch colors so I can highlight this for you. This term of the formula is negative. And what you're about to do is multiply a positive multiplied by a negative multiplied by a positive. And that's going to yield you an answer that is a negative. So there you go. That's what you've got. And that's important. Knowing if it's positive or negative is actually probably the most important part for us because then we can do this without doing the math. We can just look at the prices and say, oh, hey, these people have gained or lost because of the price change. So let's actually do the math. 1/2 of a -5 times 150. Well, I got to get the calculator out for that. So let's plug that in real quick. 5 times 150 divided by 2. Don't forget the negative sign. We get that the change in producer surplus is equal to -375. As always, feel free to check my math. I can make math mistakes just as well as anyone else can. Don't ever be afraid to check my math and tell me if you think I did it wrong. All right, what's that mean? All right, it's less than 0. It's a negative number. This means that the producer surplus has gone down by $375. It means that the profit that the firms in this market would have earned has dropped. So the profit has gone down by $375. So all of these firms in this industry that are selling in this marketplace right now are all demonstrably and measurably worse off. And it makes sense because it's not fun to sell things when the thing you're selling is dirt cheap. Let's look at another example. Flip the page here and just pop over to the next example, and the little thing will scroll down. Isn't that neat? Let me switch colors here. So let's start off with another diagram. As always, that's always our starting point. And let's have ourselves a supply curve. And we'll label it, there's the quantity and there's the price. And we'll start off with a price here, P1. And let's make P1 equal to, I don't know, does it really matter what it is? Let's make it $8. And let's say when the price is $8, the quantity that the firms in the market produce is 50 million. So we're talking about something big, like the market for some crop, like soybeans or something. We produce far more soybeans than that every year, so keep that in mind. So 50 million bushels. And let's say the price of soybeans goes up to $10. Well, when the price goes up to $10, farmers are going to respond to that. They're going to produce more soybeans. They're going to just follow the law of supply. And the law of supply says when the price goes up, that the producers are going to want to make more of it. And so if the price next year is going to be $2 higher than the price last year, we're going to get a bigger response. More land will be planted, and farmers will grow more soybeans. Let's say that new number is 60 million bushels. It's probably closer to billions of bushels, honestly. We grow a lot of this stuff here in the United States. And what we're interested in is this area right here. Because this area above the supply curve and between the two prices is the change in producer surplus. It's a trapezoid, so we're going to use the formula for the area of a trapezoid. Before we do any math, let's switch the colors and let's do the logic first. What happened? Well, the price went up. When the price goes up, you make more money, right? Well, you should make more money. Well, maybe you don't, but when the price goes up, you've got more money to cover your expenses. Life is easier when you sell things at higher prices. So we end up with a situation where the people participating in this market, the sellers in this market, the producers, the suppliers, are all very happy. And so we get a happy smiley face because the price went up. And notice that the quantity is up as well. So they're selling more of it and getting more for it. And so they're going to be pretty happy with this. And so going into it, we should know that our producer surplus is going to have to be greater than 0. It's going to have to be a positive number, which means that profit in this marketplace is going to go up. That's going to make our producers happy. And that's really what this is about. That's the idea behind welfare economics. We're trying to find out if the individuals we're studying are better off. Okay, let's plug in a formula and do some math. Switch back to green. The formula for the change in producer surplus is just the formula for a trapezoid. It's 1/2 of the height, where the height is going to be the change in the prices. And it's always going to be P2 minus P1 multiplied by the length of the top of the trapezoid and the length of the bottom of the trapezoid, which is always going to be our two quantities. So 50 plus 60, or Q1 plus Q2, and we'll plug the numbers in. 1/2, 10 minus 8, 50 plus 60. So that's going to be equal to 1/2 of 2 multiplied by 110. 110 million, right? It's a big number, 110 million. Well, this is nice because 2 divided by 2 just cancels. And so that becomes 1. And so our answer is $110 million. And the thing to notice is that this number is greater than 0, so it is a positive number. So the producer's surplus went up by this amount, and the profit that the firms in this industry earned went up by the same amount. And so there's an example with a positive and a negative change in producer surplus. Okay, that's the mathematical example for the change in producer surplus. Another video will pop up on the screen that you might find interesting and entertaining, and as well as the subscribe button in case you want to subscribe so that you can catch updates to the videos. Thank you very much for watching.